Hey guys, Jeremy Zarowitz here, VP of Supply for Griddy, here to talk to you about how the grid works, how all the other retail electric providers do business, why Griddy is different, and most importantly, how Griddy saves you money. So let's take a look at how the grid works. You've got all different types of electric generation. You've got nuclear plants, coal and gas-fired plants, solar, wind, and hydro. All of them generating electricity, pushing it all onto the high voltage transmission lines, then down to the low voltage distribution lines, and ultimately to your home. Now, regardless of who your electric provider is, that's how it works. And everybody's buying the same electricity. The only difference is how they price it and how they procure it. So here's how all the other guys do it. They've got energy traders. These are commodity traders who know the energy markets and go out and purchase futures, forwards, swaps, and options to lock in the price based on how much electricity they think their customers are going to use in the future. How do they come up with that number? Well, they have a team of load forecasters who are really smart mathematicians with really complex models that take in weather data and project usage. Now, we all know how reliable weather data is. You can imagine how reliable usage data is based on that weather. Now, if you've got traders out in the market, any one of them can bankrupt your company. It's very easy to do and it happens all the time. So you have to have a team of risk professionals who monitor the traders and establish and enforce risk policies and procedures. You've got to have a compliance group. If you're trading the energy markets, you're subject to Commodities Futures Trading Commission rules, you're subject to Federal Energy Regulatory Commission rules, Dodd-Frank rules, and a whole lot of other laws and regulations that you need to navigate through, otherwise your whole company can get shut down. Trading energy takes a lot of credit. If you're going to commit to buy electricity several years into the future, whoever you're buying that electricity from needs to have assurance that you're going to be able to perform your obligations. That takes collateral postings and takes a team of credit professionals to monitor that. You need a settlements group. These are highly specialized accountants who track all the volumes and all the flows of electricity and make sure that everything is accounted for. And then finally, you have your general energy accounting to make sure that the books are kept straight. Now, these are all very expensive salaries and a lot of overhead that these companies have to deal with. Taking a closer look at what the traders do. It would be really nice if they could just buy their electricity directly from the power plant. Unfortunately, that is almost never how it works. Typically, there are a lot of intermediaries in the market, like banks, hedge funds, and mid-marketers. And so that electricity that comes from the power plant might go to a trader at a bank, who then sells it to another trader at a hedge fund, who then flips it over to a mid-marketer. That mid-marketer trades it back to someone at a bank, who sends it back to someone at the hedge fund, and the same piece of electricity could change hands dozens of times before it winds up in the book of the trader at the retail electric provider. That's all additional overhead and additional margin being added on to the cost of electricity. Balancing risk is another big issue. We talked about load forecasting earlier. So let's look at a typical day and what a typical customer would use. You see, you've got this peak early in the morning when people wake up, turn on the lights, start cooking breakfast, then they go to work, usage drops down, then later they come home, turn on the TV, cook dinner, do the dishes, whatever else, and then finally the load drops off. So based on the weather data and based on the load forecasters' models, they come up with an expectation for how much electricity is going to be used at any given time during the day, and then the traders go out and buy that electricity. Well, let's suppose that it turns out that it's actually a few degrees warmer than they thought it would be, and people run their air conditioner more than expected, and actual usage comes in higher, especially during those peaks. Well, the trader that went out and bought electricity based on this load forecast is now short. He didn't buy enough electricity, so he's got to go into the real-time market and buy more electricity to cover his short position. There's one problem though. If his customers are using more electricity because it's hot, everyone's customers are using more electricity because it's hot, and every other retail trader is out there trying to buy electricity at the same time, so the price runs up. Conversely, when people use less electricity than expected, all these traders are selling into the market at the same time and the price goes down. So if you're a trader at any of these other retail electric providers, you're always on the wrong side of this balancing risk. You're always buying in an expensive market and selling in a cheap market. That means you have to build in a premium to make sure you protect your margin. So here's what goes into the total rate for all the other guys. First, you've got the wholesale cost of energy. That's what it costs to generate, transmit, and distribute the electricity to your home, plus any associated taxes and fees. You've got all that operational overhead from all those employees, either trading or supporting the trading, plus the very expensive systems they use to track everything. You've got all those middlemen in the market squeezing out a little extra margin and bumping up the price of electricity. You've got the risk premium for when the load forecast is wrong. You've got bad debt. Now, most people use electricity, then they get the bill for it, and then 30 days later they pay that bill. Well, 5% of those bills never get paid. So if you're one of the people who actually pays your electricity bills, you're subsidizing the 5% of people who don't. That gets added on to your total rate. And finally, margin. These guys are in business to make money. They have to add margin. How much are they making off you? Who knows? And good luck getting them to tell you. So here's what Griddy did. We decided to get rid of everything except the wholesale cost of energy, which is 100% passed through from the market, and margin, which is a low, flat, transparent $9.99 a month. Now, if you can find any other retail provider to sell you electricity at the wholesale cost plus 10 bucks a month, then by all means stay with them. I can almost guarantee you will not find it. Certainly not in the long run. Maybe they'll give you a low rate just to get you in the door, but after a month or two, you're going to start noticing that rate bumping up and extra fees being slipped in. These guys cannot operate on $10 a month with all that overhead and all that inefficiency. Griddy can. So sign up today at gogriddy.com or download the app from the Play Store or iTunes. Please leave any questions in the comments or you can email me at jz@gogriddy.com. See you next time.